Every broiler cycle begins the same way, with a flock full of potential and weeks of uncertainty ahead. The birds are small, vulnerable, and full of potential. What happens over the following weeks will determine everything that follows: growth, survival, and ultimately whether the cycle succeeds or falls short. Across Kenya, thousands of those journeys begin every day. Most are remembered only by the people who lived them. A few are preserved in remarkable detail. These records follow 4 farms on the Agrikima broiler program around Nairobi, Machakos, Kitengela, and Githurai through 12 complete production cycles, flocks ranging from 800 to 5,500 birds per cycle. More than 33,000 birds, every day logged, every challenge documented, every outcome measured. What connects these farms is the program itself, the same foundation, the same health management approach, the same products administered at each stage of growth. They also reflect the realities every poultry farmer recognizes: health challenges, disease pressure, and the constant need to keep birds growing and thriving. And when these 12 cycles are placed side by side, they reveal something remarkable. Not one successful flock, but a pattern repeated again and again. The story begins on day 1. Across all 4 farms, the foundation was the same. Every flock received the natural starter pack together with biogar, agritonic, and agrivetum through the drinking water. The objective was simple: establish a strong foundation from the very beginning of the cycle. Not every bird arrived in perfect condition. One of the first entries notes that some birds showed signs of weakness from the hatchery. It is the kind of challenge poultry farmers encounter every day. What matters is what happens next. Through those opening days, biogar, agritonic, and agrivetum remained in use while the flock settled in. Feed intake was monitored, water consumption was tracked, health observations accumulated one day at a time, mortality counts were updated, weight measurements began charting the birds' progress. By day 5, the notes described birds remaining in good health. A brief observation, easy to overlook on its own, but these production records are built from hundreds of observations like it, each one adding another piece to the picture. As the flocks entered the second week, the program continued unchanged. Biogar, agritonic, and agrivetum remained part of the daily routine. Then came the first major challenge. Around day 9, early signs of Newcastle disease appeared. For any poultry farmer, that is a moment that demands attention. The response was immediate. Advice was administered for 5 consecutive days for treatment and prevention. 2 days later, the impact was already visible. The 2 mortalities recorded the day before had stopped. An entry from day 11 notes that sick birds showed signs of better health, while healthy birds showed no signs of infection. No dramatic language, no predictions, just an observation entered into the daily record. The challenge had appeared, the response had been applied, the outcome had been observed, and the cycle continued. As the birds grew, other pressures emerged from time to time. Cases of coccidiosis appeared. Instances of ascites were noted, the normal challenges of commercial poultry production. What stands out is not that the challenges occurred, it is that management remained consistent throughout them. Biogar and agritonic continued as part of the program, the flock remained on course, daily monitoring continued, progress continued to be measured, and as the birds moved into the build phase and then the finisher weeks, biogar, agritonic, and agrivetum remained part of the routine right through to market. Then another entry catches the eye. By day 20, the notes recorded that no diarrhea was observed beginning from the 3rd day of administration. Again, not a claim, not an expectation, a documented observation from the farm itself. Week by week, the birds continued progressing through the cycle, and gradually another story began emerging from the data: growth. At placement, average bird weights were under 100 grams. A few weeks later, the measurements looked very different. Across the completed cycles, average bird weight climbed to over 2 kilograms. Cycles crossed that mark anywhere from day 26 to day 31. Not in a single flock, not in a single season, across 12 completed production cycles operating on 4 different farms. The consistency of that growth is what gives the figure meaning. The same program, the same progression, repeated cycle after cycle. But growth is only part of the story. Every poultry farmer watches another figure just as closely: survival. Every mortality was counted, every flock was measured, every cycle was completed and documented. And when the results from Nairobi, Machakos, Kitengela, and Githurai are brought together, a clear pattern emerges. Across more than 33,000 birds and 12 completed production cycles, the average survival rate reached 99.1%. A single result can happen by chance. What stands out here is consistency. Every completed cycle finished in the high 90s. Different farms, different owners, different seasons, yet the result remained remarkably stable. One of the final entries, recorded on day 33, notes that after losses to ascites just days earlier, birds showed signs of good recovery with no mortality recorded. It's a simple sentence, but it reflects something visible throughout the entire body of records. Challenges were identified early, responses were applied consistently, progress was monitored continuously, outcomes were measured and verified. And because every stage was documented, the results can be viewed not as isolated successes, but as a repeatable pattern across farms, across seasons, and across thousands of birds. 33,000 birds, 12 production cycles, a 99.1% survival rate. Agrikima, helping poultry farmers raise stronger birds, build healthier flocks, and achieve better returns.